hours have been like 3 a.m. Yeah. Oh, we're live. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Nice to have you all. And today we have with us Ilya, whom everyone knows, co-founder of Near and the guy who started the current AI revolution. And we'll be talking about a lot of things: what's happening in decentralized AI, what are the things to look out for, what's Near been working on, and much more. So Ilya, I don't think there's any need for introduction. So let's go to the meaty part. I believe this cycle has been the time where Near has gone back to its roots because if I remember correctly, when you guys started, Near was an AI project, and then you realized the importance of making sure the AI reaches everyone, and that's why it became more of a blockchain and a decentralization project. And now, since we are in this AI meta, we are still we are back to AI X crypto. So happy to hear from you on that.
Yeah. So, my background, Google research, worked on question answering, machine translation, co-authors, attention is all you need, which is powering now most, if not all, machine learning in modern day. And then I left Google because I wanted to build a product using this technology in 2017. And so we started Near AI as an idea of effectively what now everybody's doing, and it's possible. Back then, it sounded like science fiction, like to get machines to write like programming code. And I believe that's like one of the big, unlocks and transformations we're gonna see, and even seen now. And again, 2017, very much science fiction back then, and nobody had reasonable scale to do anything. So what we were trying to do is really scale the amount of data labeling. And so we had a lot of people around like Southeast Asia, China, Eastern Europe, who were working with us, mostly computer science students who would write like small tasks, write some code, write some description for code, etc. When we had trouble paying them, right? It was like, PayPal didn't work in China, TransferWise didn't work in whatever Ukraine, only Pioneer worked there, and so you like had like 5 different tools to pay people, and it was like extremely annoying, especially because we were paying them like few dollars for tasks, etc. And so we started looking at blockchain because it's like, well, it's a global payment network, right? We can pay people. And the answer was like, yeah, but the fees on Bitcoin and Ethereum are way more than what we're paying. And that's kind of how we arrived to like, okay, well, if we had a use case for, a faster, cheaper, kind of easier to use blockchain, so that a lot of other people. And so we focused our efforts on Near protocol, building this out, launched it in 2020, kind of grew ecosystem. And actually, my co-founder in 2022, even before ChatGPT, went out and actually joined OpenAI for some time, and then started kind of researching on what would it take to build models kind of outside of it. And we kind of consolidated those efforts last year as Near AI, and doing kind of quite a few different things now as a pretty small team, really trying to build this in open source way and kind of and give tools to the ecosystem in different ways. So we can dive in and like what Near AI is doing.
I think I was just going through app.near.ai yesterday, and I've seen some really good data sets which I haven't seen anywhere else. So the amount of Rust code which is there, I don't think I've seen that even on Hugging Face, which is to say something. So if I remember correctly, just a few months ago, we had this Near office hours, and we were talking about several different things in decentralized AI. And I believe right now all of them have like superimposed into this one thing we call agents. And for decentralized AI, it has only just become agents. It's all centered around agents. And if you ask 5 different people, they'll give you like 10 different definitions of agents. So happy to hear from you. What do you think would be a concise definition of agent would be? And let's take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a very good point that like we were talking, like, I mean, I usually for past year, I was showing the stack, right? Which was like, data and, compute inference and applications. And now we kind of just like collapsed into agents, even though like all of those pieces are still needed and actually more. But yeah, if you're not doing agents, what are you even doing in AI? So yeah, for me, agents are effectively, I mean, it's a computer program that has ability to kind of semantically analyze information, right? That's and so it can be as simple as just like, okay, this is LLM with some prompt and some tools, or it can be as complex as like this is a full system that uses multiple models and doing stuff on the fly, etc., or calls other agents to figure stuff out, right? Now there is a spectrum. I have actually, I think I presented that actually is Denver last year, right, about agents and like different types of agents. But yeah, so there's like a spectrum on kind of autonomy. So you have effectively everything from GPTs, which like are effectively just a prompt for ChatGPT to create like a specific session, to you have like computer use kind of, but like it's working as you effectively and like representing you and kind of animating you. You have something that can like run on the background, but you give it a mission. And you have a fully autonomous agents, which are, they given like, hey, we're going to save the planet, right? Or reduce CO2. And they go and figure out how to do that, right? And like continuously run. And there's nobody who can like stop them or do anything. And to be clear, like as of now, there's no autonomous agents in production, right? This is actually something that we are really excited to be launching in the next 2 weeks, is actually allowing to run autonomous agents, which are not unstoppable. So yeah, so this is a progression on like kind of autonomy. And then you also have progression on kind of, it's hard to define this dimension, but it's effectively, I call it this assistant agents. So assistant agent is something that works with individual user, right? So this is like my assistant, it knows stuff about me and it does things on computer, on internet, etc. I think that's a very important concept. And by the way, most assistants, what called assistants, don't do anything, right? They're just information retrieval system. They don't actually have actions embedded. Then you have so-called service agents. So service agents are agents that actually do stuff, right? So this can be like your booking.com agent that actually gets you, hotels, or this can be a, I don't know, whatever, blockchain transacting agent, right? That like you talk to it and it actually sends transactions. And usually service agents, they run on kind of on behalf of that service or some intermediary that kind of provides it for you. So it's not running on your side, on user side. So and that's a difference, because like Anthropic released MCP, like memory context protocol, which kind of mixes everything up, because it kind of brought services on the user side. So it's effectively your assistant can use tools easier, which is good. But like it kind of confuses a lot of people, I think, how that interacts. So there's service agents, but you can also use service as a tool on the assistant side. And so those are two different modes, right? And finally, again, you can have an autonomous agents, which are like neither, because they don't represent any company, they don't represent any individual, they're just running. They may have an account on chain, they can do stuff. And again, this is like a very blockchain specific. I don't think in Web 2 nobody thinks about this. Like nobody's like, we should launch an agent that will run forever and will have its own money to do stuff. But in blockchain, we're like, this is the most amazing thing ever. This is this is why we build blockchains. So anyway, so those are kind of two dimensions, but they like conclude on the same point of autonomous agents. And there's like a few other things. It's like which models you use, etc. Again, if you want autonomous agent, you need to use like open source, because OpenAI can, like right now, all the AI agents that run there that use OpenAI API, you're like, well, you realize you can be turned off at any point, right? And so that's one of the pieces of near AI infrastructure we're going to be launching. So AI kind of agent hosting that we provide will run inside the trusted execution environment in such a way that the model inferences itself as well happens there, which again nobody has right now in production. And so we're working with Fala Network on bringing that together. and the kind of that allows you to effectively have, like if you want, this agent can continuously run, right, independently of any individual, just feed its account with money, for inference costs. And then you can also, interestingly, it offers you privacy, which you don't usually get much on blockchain. But it's also better privacy than you have in centralized world, because even the developer of the agent or developer of the code or operator of the computer is not getting access to the data you're running. So it's a really interesting, strong properties, which again, I'm super excited. This is actually possible, because it wasn't possible like before, I think mid last year.
Yeah. I mean, we have seen a lot of improvements in AI for the just even in the last year. Uh, I think not too long ago we were having these zero shot systems where you ask a question and it will give an answer, and now we have these reasoning agents which can plan, break the task into multiple smaller steps, and then figure out how to achieve a complex goal instead of coming up with everything on their own. So. I like the way you divide it into services, the part about getting the right data, and also on the autonomy layer. The way I tend to think of agents is everything is a tool. So there's an intelligence, which is the LLM, and everything else is just a tool. There are tools for getting data. There are tools for interacting with the chain. There are tools for using existing tools, the software tools that we have, all the other machine learning APIs, and so on. And this intelligence is responsible for breaking a task and identifying the right tools to use, and then it can choose if I need to make a transaction, I'll just use that API and make that transaction. But yeah, we do need autonomy for that because unless this agent is this model itself is running in a TEE, then you don't really have that agent. It belongs to the company whose model you're using. So yeah, it's nice to think of it like this. Coming to the TE part, I have a question. So do the multiple copies of model run at a time? Because if someone turns off the TE, then the model goes down, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively TE cloud, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, we're starting it permissioned because of a few reasons, but we wanted to make permissionless.
Mm-hmm.
And so the core idea is like the TE with GPUs. I mean, that's effectively your like inference network, right? And so you want indeed to have replication. You want batching. You want all this things that people are doing. And then on the other side, to make it actually permissionless, there is actually one missing component, that kind of missing protocol that we've been working on, and we're going to be releasing more about this. But it's effectively to facilitate the kind of if the node, like to facilitate understanding if the nodes are online or not, right? So one of the biggest problems in general, right, in distributed systems is you don't know the node is offline.
Yep.
Node doesn't want to respond to you, and kind of and like it's really hard to prove that somebody didn't respond to you. And so we've been working on so-called proof of response as a way to address that. And so if you layer that on top of a kind of, now you can have a permissionless TE cloud where you have guarantees that if one of the nodes is not responding, you're able to punish it, as well as to reroute the request to another node. And so that's kind of the network we're building. I mean, again, it's in multiple milestones. We're actually releasing the kind of the low level SDK for running AI inference today. I mean, developed by Fala. And we're going to be kind of, adding more and more of this functionality into Near AI Hub, and also working with other partners in the ecosystem, right, to kind of get this going. Because I think like that's a fundamental piece that kind of enables this user-owned AI and autonomous agents and all of these functions. But yeah, like definitely, multiple replicas of the model, ensuring that you have, like quality response at the, low latency, because at the end, like the latency is very important as well. and you want to optimize for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if the if the latency is not good enough, then we can't really get mass adoption. In the end, people only care about the performance. Yeah. So coming back to the agents, do you think agents need to have their own coins? And if yes, why? If no, why?
Spicy takes, spicy takes. Yeah, I mean it's an interesting question. I think what we see now, and this has been a pattern in crypto, that coins lead to attention,
Uh-huh.
attention leads to kind of developers,
Mhm.
developers lead to more products, and more products lead to adoption, right? So
Yep.
it all starts with a coin. There was nothing, and then there was a coin. um,
Yeah.
and so I think the biggest benefit right now we see is just like it creates so much kind of attention and speculation
Mhm.
around this, and so it really generates this kind of attention mechanism. And
Mhm.
so I think that the challenge is more that kind of there's no mechanisms around. Let's say I'm a token holder and
Mhm.
I want to update, AI XBT to
Mhm.
support something else, right? And there's no way to actually like for token holders, for example, to vote on upgrade or whatever, right? Again, because the
Mhm.
agent is run by somebody on somebody's computer, like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
literally that whoever runs that computer is in control of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so right now it's kind of decoupled. So
Mhm.
again, one of the things we're excited about is to see these things actually be uh, together, where you literally like the token holders are part of a DAO that can upgrade the code of the agent itself
Mhm.
in the kind of in this autonomous container. And
Mhm.
so and similarly, like if people decide and that agent made a bunch of money, it can go and like distribute it to the token holders, etc. Right? Like so you can create different models of actually generating revenue, etc., and distributing into token holders, which then okay, well, this is then the future of corporations. The future of
Mhm.
corporations is actually AIs that are doing functions
Mhm.
that people buy into, and then as they make money they distribute it to the token holders, or
Mhm.
they buy it, or they do something else, right? But it's effectively now creates a system that uh, and the cool thing is it's fully decentralized, because AI is actually not a literally from a legal perspective, it's not a principal agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a decentralized system that just runs, which we have just upheld that smart contracts, etc., are kind of exempt from the standard
Uh-huh.
system.
Uh-huh.
So I actually think that that is kind of the future, where we'll see a lot more examples of token holders effectively um, engaging with AI agent to like guide
Mhm.
it, improve it, give it training data, maybe crowdsource more data for it, etc.,
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
well
Mhm.
as enabling more functionality, giving it more tools, and through that interface effectively enhancing its capabilities, and in turn this agent becomes more valuable. And so I'm actually excited to see that and kind of help build some of that infrastructure.
Yeah, totally. I also believe agents having their own tokens is a huge net positive for the whole ecosystem. Because think of it, if you want to build a good AI model in Web 2, all you can do is just download the existing models and make a few changes. Otherwise, you need to have budgets of few billions or raise money from somewhere. Need to have that kind of background that you can raise that money, and then only you will be able to contribute to the AI ecosystem in a substantial manner. But if you create an agent which is just good enough and have are able to capture some mindset, that helps the ecosystem in a big way, because now there are people who are funding the ecosystem to get better. We have kind of seen that even right now. Initially, the agents that came in were pretty basic. I mean, we have looked at almost all of them, and over time they have been getting better. We have had that era of reply guys chatbots, which are there and just writing anything, and now people are bored of them, and there's no new innovations happening in this area. And all of this has been possible because there are agents with their own meme coins. So people are buying those meme coins, and so you have an incentive to create a better agent, capture more mind share, and that drives improvement both on the infra front and also on the functionality front. and this is actually better than Web 2, because it's all judged by the crowd. So I believe it's a really positive development in a way. Uh, yeah, and now coming from that, the most recent development we have seen in this AI meta, AI X agent meta, is uh, DeF AI or DeFi or DeFi or whatever we want to call it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, name is terrible. Uh,
Definitely.
um, I mean, AI-Fi is at least like a better pronounceable name than
But it sounds too much similar to TradFi, and now we have this thing where whenever we see an I, we put an A behind it and just make it AI. So DeFi was kind of asking for it.
yeah, I don't know about that, but uh, I mean, I think there's like there's multiple dimensions here, and that's why it's a little bit complicated to analyze, because I think people are excited about this idea that there will be an AI that will trade for them and make a ton of money for, and like this, this is gonna be the 100xer that you're gonna go for. And the reality is, like, I mean, people need to understand that what they're describing is a hedge fund, and
Mhm.
it's not easy to build a hedge fund, and
Yeah,
people who build hedge funds don't gonna like just go and offer everybody else to invest in their hedge fund,
yeah,
right? And like whatever works on like a small amount of money, like a few $1,000s, doesn't work on like a few million and then
definitely.
hundred millions of dollars. So that's why it's like it's kind of funny to see that, because like I've been asking like what people want, what useful agents people want, right? And like a lot of it ends up being like, yes, just find the best yield or find the best investment opportunity. At the same time, I think, and again, there's like a spectrum.
Mhm.
You can have a like your financial copilot, right? The financial copilot is not about like making like full end-to-end decisions, but it's about
Mhm.
like surfacing things for you that you might be interested in, or helping you execute a trade, right? Maybe you're like, hey, I want to buy in, like, even I want to DCA into Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
But like I have stable coins, and it's like, right now to do that, maybe like, on Binance you can do this, but then in US, like, you cannot use Binance. I know if Coinbase offers this, but like it's effectively not that easy to execute that, or especially if you want to say like, hey, I want a DCA, but like if the price is going down, maybe
Mhm.
like you buy 10% more or something, right? Like,
Mhm.
specify a more complex rule. Like that's not available anywhere, but your AI
Mhm.
agent can execute that, no problem.
Mhm.
So like your AI
Mhm.
like financial copilot can be there to just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run, every hour I'm gonna check the prices, I'm gonna like do the
Mhm.
trades. So it's not that you just offload it and it's gonna go and like invest for you. It's more like you making decisions. Now,
Yeah.
the other side of this that I'm really excited is AI kind of enabled uh, effectively pools, right? So right
Mhm.
now, and this is actually like, it's different from like gonna go and make a ton of money, but it's also similar in some sense, because right now we have this Uniswap is effectively the like bread and butter of
Yeah.
the like on-chain market making, right? And
Mhm.
so, and again, the benefit here is like the market maker is not designed to go and make 100x, but
Mhm.
it's about like both providing liquidity and making some money for the
Yeah.
liquidity providers. Now, the Uniswap is like x y equal k. That's a
Mhm.
formula. There's
Mhm.
no intelligence here. There's no understanding what's going on in the market, etc.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we actually just released an example of a on-chain market maker that uses AI agent to make decisions on pricing the swaps, right? So
Mhm.
instead of, again, x y equal k, you can go effectively in the same transaction as you're trading
Mhm.
something. You call an
Mhm.
AI agent. The AI agent can go, scan the market, look at Twitter feeds, like fetch data from Kaido,
Mhm.
and then analyze it, make a decision, maybe run Black Scholes, maybe run something else, and
Mhm.
effectively respond back with a price that it wants to give you. And so
Mhm.
that's I think really interesting, because it kind of opens up a new paradigm of building um, on-chain applications. So like before, traditionally, it's been really hard to build like options and futures kind of DeFi protocols, because you effectively like need to figure out how to model all of the stuff on chain in a smart contract. Like how do you do black shoals on, on volatile assets? Like if you don't even have volatility information available. And now you can do literally like, in the same transaction that you're requesting, hey, I want a futures contract that like in 7 days and 3 hours, the price of Bitcoin will go up 5%, but if it goes down, 3%, I want to pay out. And so like you send that request, and your AI agent runs a Black-Scholes model, fetches whatever data, volatility, etc., from CoinMarketCap, from everything, and gives you a quote like, yeah, it's going to cost you whatever, $50 to buy this. So you can have all this like new level of programmability almost that like adds intelligence, adds external data, combines all of this, and plugs it in directly into on-chain smart contracts and trades. So I'm excited about that, like as DeFi with AI. And then
it's funny you give this liquidity management example because in our last talk, somebody asked a question where I see the actual use of AI in DeFi, and that was the example I could come up with. So if you divide the market into buy side and sell side, and sell side are the one who are responsible for creating financial products and like writing options, like the option you give. I think that is more relevant for AI rather than the buy one, because I used to work at Goldman and their ML team, and even for us, we never used to create a product where we needed to predict the market, because you can't do that. It's markets are efficient. You cannot predict that. It's super difficult to create an AI model that predicts the market and make money. And even if it does, it's on shorter intervals, and then you need to make changes over time. So, but I don't think that that's the direction anyone should be taking. But managing liquidity. So, for example, in case of Uniswap V3, you can actually define the portions where you want to provide the liquidity. So, if it's trading Ethereum and USDT, you can say I'll provide my liquidity between 3,300 and 4,000, and on the other side somewhere between that. So that itself adds value, where there's an agent which is coming up, looking at the data, Twitter, Kaito AI, and the current volatility and so on, and identifying the range where I should be providing liquidity, and also ensure that there's no impermanent loss to the LPs. So I really believe we are thinking they're in the similar way. So you were talking about some other cases.
Yeah, options contracts I think is really interesting, again, because it's just like it's been really hard to build that, and we still I don't think we have like purpose effectively replaced options, because A, options are hard for retail, but B, nobody can build a DeFi protocol out of that, and so liquidity is thin. The other really cool example I like is actually prediction markets, because right now, like Polymarket did an amazing job, right? But it's effectively manually created markets, and also like UMA needs to have a manual resolution, and then trading is also highly manual, right? So like you kind of have like humans, like you have effectively three human in the loop processes to create Polymarket. Now imagine you actually automate all of them. So imagine I come up with whatever random question, like, how many times are we going to mention AI in this episode, right? I say we're going to mention AI over 50 times, right? Now, there can be an AI like arbiter that decides on how we're going to resolve this. So for example, it will say, hey, we're going to resolve it by, this is a video link. This is going to be the, how we count it, etc. Then, and so the flip side of this is there's AI Oracle that effectively can go and analyze this, can go and visit homepage of White House and see who is the president, etc. Right? And so we already automated two parts, but the more important part is actually trading. Right now, like it's effectively peer-to-peer trading, which is really hard, right? And like, for me, Polymarket is actually very counterintuitive, because what I want to trade is like a probability. I want to say, like, I want to buy the probability that whatever this will happen. 60% probability this happen. And so if I buy it Polymarket 60%, and then somebody else buy, and then now it becomes 70 cents. Well, I actually need to sell, because like I don't believe it's 70, right? I believe it's 60.
Yeah. Mhm.
So to give like an analogy is like it's as if you saying the like whatever one team will win, like 1 to 10 probability,
Mhm.
one team will win, but
Mhm.
then because everybody piled on that, now it's 2-10, and like, well, I don't
Mhm.
like I'm not 1 to 10. I want
Yeah.
like I want 1 to 10, so I need to like actually leverage my position now to get back to 1 to 10.
Mhm.
So what you can do, like normally in traditional like sports, betting, etc., you have
Mhm.
bookmakers, right? They
Mhm.
effectively are creating this and balancing all those books.
Yeah.
But in Web3, what you can do, you can have AI bookmakers. You can
Mhm.
come in and say, hey, like we have this question that we want to effectively bet on. What
Mhm.
rates would you give me, right? And they're like,
Mhm.
oh, like this is AI episode. You're probably gonna say
Mhm.
AI a lot of times, so it's highly likely it's like 9 to 10, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And so the payout would be very little.
Mhm.
Also, you are in the episode, so like it's insane. But that's kind of, I mean, it can analyze all the inputs and effectively give me some
Yeah.
probabilities. And again,
Mhm.
it can do it for arbitrary question, and so you can have a network of this AI bookmakers, right, effectively participating. The cool thing is they themselves can use the same system. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, actually, let me hedge. Like I took this position, but now I want to hedge. So let's imagine, I don't know, what's a good like. I mean, like, oh, this amount of gold gonna be like mined this year, but then okay, let's hedge against some weather pattern in some region, and so like
Mhm.
with like I want to buy the negative shares of something happening in that region with weathers, which will prevent the gold being mined. So like you can effectively decompose this question, and AI can do that to like create its own positions and books, and
Mhm.
so I'm really excited about that model. I think like there is something that will be unlocked with that, which like will be kind of massive, right? It's just going to be like millions of questions effectively being traded, and like
Mhm.
again, you don't need to have like right now you need to have a full market for people to participate. With this, you don't
Mhm.
need to have a full market, right? Like you can literally like it's one trade, like you can have one trade per question, and it's fine.
Mhm.
So that's again really excited in this kind of combination of DeFi kind of ecosystem merging with a lot of AI agents, like participating in this.
Yeah, I think I believe it will be really cool because when I was looking at Polymarket, that was the first question that came to my mind. That why aren't they doing it the way it's actually done in other forms of betting, where there's a sort of a market maker who decides the odds with their own complicated models. Uh, so I used to work for this company called Ocon, and there we helped a betting company. They used to give odds on cricket matches, and we helped them create a better model to give out odds than they were doing earlier. And their model was super complicated. They were looking at data sets like tens of years backwards, looking at all sorts of interactions between different variables. Like if you're looking at basketball, you were looking at how do these two teams fare against each other, then also looking at if these two teams play at this particular place, what's the record like, then it's like if this particular player is playing, then what's the win percentage, or if the coach is this guy, how good the win percentage is. So they take all these things into consideration and only then come up with the odds. And so even the thin markets can work that way. So I really believe we have options. We have seen a lot of examples where AI is really good at coming up with those odds, and it's just it'll take some time, but I think we'll definitely have something like that in crypto.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys at Near end up creating that first. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
more
we're just
recently,
powering all of this with infrastructure.
uh,
So I'm looking for more builders to build this kind of things.
okay, anyone from the crowd, if you want to build a prediction market like this, Near has the info for you. Okay, so more recently, I've been hearing a lot about intents from Near. Uh, I've seen some examples and I get a feel of it, but can you help me understand it better? Like explain it like I'm five kind of thing.
Yeah, so the simplest explanation is effectively it's a protocol for other people to do, or for somebody else to do some shit for you, right?
Okay.
Like you want some shit done, you don't care how it's done, you just want it
Uh,
to be done, right? And that's a
uh-huh.
protocol for that.
Mhm.
But maybe one level down, it's effectively an interactive way for, to me, say like, hey, I want, I don't know, building to be built, I want pizza to be delivered, I want to swap
Mhm.
some tokens, I want
Mhm.
to, I want to bet on this, like this thing happening,
Mhm.
and it's sent to like to various, I mean, they called solvers, effectively AI agents, who are like,
Mhm.
evaluate if they want to take on this request. And they can
Mhm.
respond with like, okay, here's, how much it will cost, or how much, uh, you know, this will take, etc. Like with some kind of, we call it a quote, like,
Mhm.
uh, and so then whoever requested can choose, from quotes from different agents, and then this creates a commitment, right? So
Mhm.
effectively, you have another counterparty or multiple counterparties who are agreeing to do something for you, and you say,
Mhm.
okay, I'm willing to, spend this much, or do this much, do this thing in
Mhm.
return, and that gets settled on chain and gets executed, right? Which may take, happen instantly,
Mhm.
or take some time to, for example, money are setting in escrow.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's effectively digitizing a protocol between, individuals and companies, when you're actually trying to get something done in real world, right? Like
Mhm.
imagine you go to a company and you say, hey, I want something done. They sending you effectively a work order. You're reading it, you're signing on it. Then there's like invoicing and billing, and all this execution. And if you
Mhm.
don't agree with the quality, you can go to court, or like you
Mhm.
arbitrage first, you go to court. So it's actually effectively digitizing that and making
Mhm.
it AI native, where things
Mhm.
are actually can happen really quickly, right? Because like
Okay.
right now, all of that processes take forever, right? Uh, and here you can have this thing happening instantly. One way to think of it, what does the Upwork of AIs look like, right?
Mhm.
It's like if you imagine all these AI agents sitting somewhere, and you're like, hey, I want somebody to do this for me, like I want somebody
Mhm.
to run a marketing campaign for me, right? And all these AI agents are like, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. You kind of select one, and then you do it. But again, you want it to be like instant, immediate. Again, AI
Mhm.
agents don't need 24-hour turnaround time to respond,
Mhm.
right? They can respond within a few hundred milliseconds or a few
Mhm.
seconds. And so you can have a system effectively where all this comes together. And to me, that's a fabric that's going to define like agentic internet that we're all
Mhm.
building. And so, and that's effectively what Near is offering for AI agents, and
Mhm.
kind of and users and DeFi, etc., because it effectively combines all of these different components into one system, right? You want to
Mhm.
trade, cool. You want an options contract, cool. You want the prediction markets, cool. You want food delivered, you want buildings built, you want marketing, you want whatever code to be built, etc. All of that is within the same system. And
Mhm. Mhm.
so that's, I mean, to me, really exciting. It kind of one of the things that where blockchain, like traditional blockchain, like it has very limited interactions, right? You can
Mhm.
like either send some tokens to another person, but then if they didn't do the work, like there's no way to kind of get it back.
Mhm.
And there's smart contracts, which are like really highly kind of rigid systems, right? Like you write it once and you kind of hope it works, and they
Mhm.
cannot take on external inputs. They cannot be like dynamic. And so this offers a really dynamic system, and that's
Mhm.
why I posted that like intents will kill smart contracts, because effectively this replaces most of the things, right? Again,
Mhm.
I mean, trading, you can have bonding curve style intent as well. You can
Mhm.
have as I said, like options. You can have prediction markets, like every single use case. and
Mhm.
and so smart contracts actually then really are about capturing the state of ownership of assets, of kind of the system. And
Mhm.
intents as a way we transform the state, like the way this is a more like formal definition. Intents are effectively like like a way for us to negotiate on what state we want to achieve, and then
Mhm.
commit and execute that. And
Mhm.
again, one of the interesting things is intents themselves can contain arbitrary program inside
Mhm.
them on how they get executed, which not just can be in code, it can be in natural language. And this natural language is then for another AI agent to interpret and actually do the transformation, right? So again, you can effectively have an actual literal legal contract as part of intent, and that then gets interpreted by AI agent and potentially by court if something goes wrong. So it gives you like so much flexibility. Now we're rolling a bunch of this stuff out, so we did ship all the trading stuff first because it's easy and kind of showcases the power, but we're now showcasing more and more of the agent examples as well, and kind of going to be rolling this out.
Yeah. Can you give me a really complicated, unreasonable request that can be executed by intents?
Unreasonable request?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it shouldn't be done, but it would still get done. Like, could be really complicated. Look at this and then trade this. If this doesn't happen, then trade the. I mean, anything.
Yeah, I mean, so you can do that, but like again, the examples I really like is like make my website conversion rates higher, like increase conversion rates by at least 10%. And like the cool thing here is this is intent. Somebody's like, yeah, okay, I looked at your website, it's going to cost you whatever 10 grand, and then as part of that intent you're actually sharing because it's another AI agent and it runs inside TE, you can trust it. You can actually share access to your website so that AI agent can modify your website. And so to effectively create that protocol where they can go and do stuff. So again, that's just an example. But yes, you can obviously execute this trade if Bitcoin price is above 105, and then buy back when it's under 95. Like all this stuff, you can do. So it's a very dynamic protocol, and that's a cool thing about it. And that's why we kind of just need more. We need more solvers, right? More agents that are able to do different things, and effectively, we're trying to. I mean, we're gonna have a bunch of hackathons and participate in a bunch of hackathons to get people to build. I call it useful agents who actually do these things.
I think you will get mass adoption if it can execute tasks like just trade Ethereum and Bitcoin and make me a lot of money. And it
that's what I'm saying. That is like make me a lot of money is very highly unspecified, right? Because
yeah, definitely. And on the technical side, is it more similar to like a Owen style reasoning based model where it identifies what you actually want to do when you say something and then tries to get it done with the whatever tools or whatever agents it has access to?
I mean, effectively, yes, but it's an interactive protocol that is recursive as well, right? So, so you can, for example, say like, hey, I want to do this marketing thing, or I want to do this trading thing, and the agent that got this and says like, hey, I'm gonna do it, but I actually myself need to split this into subtasks and go ask other agents to do the subtasks, right? So a good example is like, I want to buy an apartment with a mortgage, right? And so there can be an agent that says like, yes, I'll do it, but the way it does it, it will go to an agent selling apartments agent and to mortgage agents, like to lending effectively, and we'll combine this to outputs and give you back, right? So you have this kind of, as I said, recursive property that it can like, oh, what is all the agents selling apartments? What is all the mortgages? Let's find best offers. Let's match them, and let's give back to the caller that wants like this composite intent already, like a combined effort. So that's kind of the idea, is like again, and it can keep going deeper, right? So yes, like sometimes it will take a little bit of, like, if you want to buy an apartment, probably going to take a little bit of time for it to find all the options and like get mortgage quotes, etc., before you get the response, right? You're not going to get like immediate, like, boom, everything's ready, but it can obviously feed you back some information as it like fetches more, and so yeah, you can have a very kind of and then inside each one, agent itself can use like a 1 or 3 or whatever model to like think through the problem, etc. So it's a very kind of I would say like meta level of like how to organize agents.
Yeah, nice. I think it's a pretty cool way you are doing it. Personally, I'm really interested in the reasoning based models. So more recently, we released a model around visual question answering, and it broke the state of the art by using our data. And the next model we are thinking of working on would be around mathematics, because that's where you can show the improvement through your reasoning based models, because those are the kind of difficult problems where reasoning actually shows you the level of improvement you would want to see. So yeah, really interested in that. And the way I look at it is more of a search, where your goal is to like traverse that whole set of paths that are possible, identify what works. If it doesn't work, backtrack, and then over time learn what kind of paths work and what kind don't. So yeah, we are working towards that, and we'll have some announcements around that soon. Now let's come on to the big ass model you guys are creating, that 1.4 trillion parameter model. I believe it's going to be the biggest open source model, right?
That's a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the way how you guys are going about it, that rather than just training one big model in the beginning, because it can have a lot of issues. You might not get the performance that you would want. It's better to start with smaller models, measure performance, and then grow up quadratically, or however you want to scale it up. So yeah, what was your thinking behind doing something so massive? And like, just happy to understand the vision behind this.
Yeah, so I mean, again, the overall vision is like, how do we achieve user-owned AI assistant, right?
Mhm,
That's like the goal, and kind of this AI assistant needs to have two sides. One is it needs to have the smartest brains, and it needs
mhm,
to be able to do actions in the world. So actions in the world, this is what intents are for. Smartest
mhm,
brains is the model,
mhm,
and so the challenge right now, there's actually no truly open source models. There's
mhm,
maybe one from Allen Institute,
mhm.
and by open source I mean what source code and
Yeah.
what data went in. Right,
Mhm,
everything we have is open parameters models.
mhm,
Right, and so you don't know what actually went in. You don't know what bias it created. You don't know like what challenges, etc. And like you are not even able to like everybody's, when they fine tune models, they're effectively guessing on like what went into training data and
yep,
how
yep,
to like unbias it and bias it
mhm,
into whatever they want. So the idea is like, okay, well, we want an open source model. We want it to be like the best model, because if it's not the best model, nobody's going to use it. That's
mhm.
that's kind of the challenge.
Yeah.
And so so it needs to be very sizable. And so 1.4T is kind of on scaling loss, like a really good size for that. And then indeed it's like from scratch training like 1.4T extremely hard.
Yeah.
You like, we do want to make sure that like we have all the latest innovations, all the latest improvements, as well as the data is actually clean and proper. Like
Mhm,
the difference between few of the open source models of the same size is clearly like mostly in data, right, and a
yep,
little bit
yep.
in like how it was trained, but like mostly in data. And so it's a really big like task to actually figure out the data
Mhm,
processing step. And so yeah, so the idea is like, okay, well, we want to organize competitions and create this platform where everybody can contribute to building this model and then
mhm.
receive effectively um, reward in the future of this model, right? So, and again, crypto is really good at doing that, which is a token. And so
Yep, yep.
you can have a per model token
Uh-huh.
that everybody who contributes to it receives kind of some amount of. And then when this model is live, it is monetized through our system. You can
Mhm,
actually receive the rewards. And again, going back to like this TE infrastructure, the big benefit is it allows to train models inside the TE in such a way that the model outcome is encrypted. And so the
mhm,
only way to run it is inside TE, but it doesn't have any additional restrictions, right? It doesn't
mhm,
have any guardrails that OpenAI will, adds tomorrow or removes tomorrow. It doesn't have, it is permissionless. It is, you can run it on your own hardware if you
mhm,
want, if you have TEs enabled hardware. And so you have all the properties of open source, of open parameters, but and what went in, but you don't
mhm,
have like the parameters are not like you do need to monetize it, and you need to pay for using it. And so
Mhm.
I think that's a really best combination of open source and closed source in this sense, because it allows to monetize and kind of flow back value to people who contributed building it. And again, this is like a massive effort to actually make
Yep,
this
yep.
happen. So we've been building out the infrastructure for all those pieces, and kind of going to be launching more cycles of this probably in a couple of months as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So for the more technical of us, which architecture of neural nets are you using right now? Is it some version of Llama? And on the data side, how are you sourcing your data, and how are you ensuring the quality and also the performance that it like covers all sorts of aspects?
Yeah, so I mean, we started with like pretty kind of like basic of both sides, right? So
Mhm.
Llama architecture and fine web
Yeah.
data, right?
Mhm.
But again, the point of this competitions is for people to come and like improve on this, right? And so
Yep, yep.
where we're gonna end up is, we'll see.
Mhm.
I think mixture of experts is definitely showing kind of strengths, and I think
Mhm.
that's probably going to be. I mean, this is something we've like Alex Kidana, right? He worked on before.
Yep, yep.
I think it's a very big boost for kind of also getting like faster performance for kind of and on data side, I mean, one of the things is for sure to work on is kind of creating better like labeled data to use as a filter, effectively train like smaller model to filter the data, right?
Mhm.
From human labeled, like, oh, this is spam, or this is like not interesting, etc.
Mhm.
There's also like just a lot of, I think, kind of important data cleaning procedures that needs to be done, like stripping out a lot of kind of things that are really hard to predict, right? I mean,
Yep, yep.
the example that I really like is when you're trying to predict like a news article, and
Mhm.
the model is required to predict the author name,
Mhm.
right? It's like it's impossible, like almost impossible.
Yep, yep.
So and it's like you're wasting effectively a lot of cycles on a lot of stuff like this, like things that are, or like like whenever website was scraped, right, there was ads there
Mhm.
embedded and stuff like this, like all of that needs
Yep.
to be clean. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of effort on just doing those things and kind of really making data more pristine. And I think
Mhm.
that's actually where top labs right now, the reason why people cannot match them is just a lot of effort went into this. And the cool thing
Yep.
is, like, with kind of this open source mentality and just like competitive cooperation, we can
Mhm.
actually get all those ideas and really plug them into one place.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I definitely agree with the importance of data in all this, because coming from an ML background, 90% of my time used to go into just cleaning data, because training model is not the deep learning one, but the normal ones is the easiest part. You just have to do a library call and it just gets trained. The most difficult part is cleaning up with the data, deciding on the experiments, designing how you're going to evaluate your model and how you're going to improve it over time. That's just super difficult, and that's where all the time goes. And yeah, just following up on that, how are you measuring the performance of your model? Is it on more general benchmarks, or are you also going with more specific things, specific domains you want to improve on initially?
So for this one, it's supposed to be generic. So yeah, so we've been using LiveBench as kind of a proxy for that.
Mhm,
Um, we do have, I mean, few subtasks that we're really interested in, like math, right, and a few others that we have,
mhm,
like and coding,
mhm,
which we have more evaluations. So that those are the kind of interesting. So I don't know if you've seen on app.nearly, there's the
yeah,
evaluations kind of leaderboard, and so yeah, so
mhm,
there's a lot of benchmarks, and we're going to be keep adding, and so you
mhm,
can see both how models perform as
mhm,
well. You can actually evaluate agents as well. So
mhm,
for example, if your agent is like actually bad at math because it uses a chain of reasoning and maybe like
mhm, mhm,
lean evaluator or something, right, then it will actually benchmark
mhm,
on the
mhm,
leaderboard as well. So it doesn't need to be just pure like deep learning. You can actually combine. Maybe it goes on internet and
mhm.
finances, etc. Like that
Mhm,
also works.
mhm,
So
mhm.
so we kind of like created a framework that allows to evaluate and benchmark things, and kind of for any model or any agent to see a breadth of its quality across different benchmarks. But for specifically like training a big foundational model, it should be generic, right? And so that's the kind of goal, and then you can obviously fine tune it for more specific things from there.
So if there's a model builder right now who goes to app.near.ai, what all they can do, and what do you expect them to do on the platform right now?
Yeah, so we're planning to relaunch so we paused a little bit the competitions because we're finishing up some of the infrastructure. So I think maybe circle back on that question in a couple of months when we have a lot more tooling available. Right now we have some fine tuning, and we have a few other pieces of infrastructure, like you said. I mean, we have models, we have data sets, so like there's a lot of pieces there, and like if you really want, like you can cook a lot with it. But it's not like super easy right now to just come in and like so I mean, we have like examples of how to spin up machines and run stuff on it. We have interesting data sets, etc., but it's not in a fully cooked state, so we haven't promoted that yet too much because of this. But all of that is coming, and kind of just need to integrate a lot of this into like a cohesive platform.
I think the hardcore ML guys can still make use of it. It's just going there and cloning stuff and just running it. But for the ones who are just getting started, it's a bit difficult right now. I think over time you'll have some sort of a UI where they can just select a few things and train the model. Coming up to just the last few things. You once said for a decentralized model, not everything has to be on chain, and you kind of got a lot of flag for that on Twitter. I agree with that. What are your thoughts on it? What do you actually meant when you said that?
Yeah, I mean, well, the example with TE is a great example. Like TEs are, I mean, it depends where you draw the on-chain line, right? Because I mean, TEs effectively gives you the same properties of like you want from blockchain and ZK and more. Like the interesting thing is, I mean, this is like as a dunk, like everybody, when I say privacy, everybody somehow jumps into ZK, and I'm like, ZK literally have no privacy. Like there's only one use case of ZK privacy, and it's like when I'm shielding my own balance, and like that's all. There's no other use case of ZK for privacy. The TEs actually give you privacy and verifiability. So like I mean, and yes, they're like I don't want to like overhype this. Like asterisks is around that, and like you need to handle it properly. But what you get is like, hey, this code was run on this data, and this is outcome, and this is a certification of that, and the code and data could have been encrypted, and the outcome can be encrypted, and nobody will know what was run there. And so so this gives you a ton of features and flexibility, and again, what we're launching is like AI inference doing that, which again, like what you don't want is having hundreds of machines doing the same work over and over again, kind of on chain, when you can run it inside TE with no overhead, right? And so, but you can still use it from the blockchain. Like as I said, we have examples of in the same transaction, calling out into the TE cloud, getting response from AI agents, and resuming the transaction with that execution. So I think, and same intents, most of the protocol is peer-to-peer outside of the blockchain. You only commit on chain the outcome, the commitment, settle commitment, right? And so that's kind of the point. It's like a lot of these things are going to be happening off chain, using blockchain primitives, using cryptography, using certificates, verification, etc., and encryption. And blockchain serves as root of trust, as record of value, as settlement engine, as ordering engine, etc. But it's not doing the heavy duty AI inference computation. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because even when we were starting, there were a lot of questions about where you are going to store your data, and what are you going to store on chain. And it was pretty clear. The scale of data that we have with AI applications, you cannot store it on chain. It's It's just not possible. And especially if you run huge models like your 1.4 trillion parameter model, it cannot be run on chain. You have to use specialized hardware, GPUs, TEs for that. And if we just force ourselves to bring everything on chain, we might never have decentralized AI. So it's better to use blockchain where it's good, the things where it excels at, and let the specialized hardware do what it does best. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely agreed with that. So I think we have last few minutes. Adil, do we have any questions from our spectators?
We actually have some great questions. There's some for Ilya personally, and there's some. I'll start with one that was, I think, the funniest, which is we're all waiting for DeFi agents to revolutionize finance. Yet, from all the agents yapping on X, none of them sounds trustworthy. Are yapping agents and DeFi agents trained differently?
Uh,
Yes.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
gonna say anything anymore. Just yes.
This is to Ilya personally. Here, how does the integration of 1.4 trillion parameter model with intent-based systems in DeFi enhance user experience and mitigate issues like fragmented liquidity and MEV?
Yeah, so I'll just say maybe how intents solve a lot of these problems, and then, I mean, the 1.4T model is really about like making sure we have the correct
Yeah.
answer and
Mhm.
like reducing the amount of hallucinations and errors, etc. But intents actually, very interestingly, they address a lot of problems because intents are kind of a protocol off chain. There's no like traditional MEV, because like I'm saying like, hey, I want to trade, 1 Bitcoin for USDC. I collect quotes, so I actually select the price, and then that already gets settled, right? There's no way to like front run this or whatever. Even the price changed, right? And you like literally went and changed the market, like nothing will change already this commitment. So that's really interesting property, and like this, kind of really addresses a lot of challenges that we see right now in DeFi and in markets. And so, broadly speaking, the Synthetics protocol is, again, like it's a universal kind of new way of kind of transacting value between users, AIs, smart contracts, kind of any type of participant. And it addresses a lot of the traditional Web3 kind of on-chain stuff that we've been dealing with. And again, like AI agents and powered with this user-owned AI models are able to like participate in that, being able to do this work more effectively, faster and cheaper than either people or traditional market makers or whatever. And the goal of this model is to be really like, we know what went into it, right? We know the ingredients. It's like organic model. Right now we all using MSG models, and so we want an organic model, uh, homegrown, uh, community grown,
Yep.
and so we know like if even if there is mistakes, right, you can actually track down what led to this, and how to fix, like how to maybe address the training data, how to fine tune, etc. Like right now, if model makes a hallucination, you have no idea. Like there's no way to go and like back prop into training data to figure out what are the different training data
Mhm.
examples that affected it. There's no way to go and like track down the specific neurons that are activating based on this, right? All of this tooling like doesn't exist if you're using OpenAI.
Yeah.
Like internally they have it, but we are not able to do this.
Yeah.
So, and like I think it's extremely important for the community, as we actually starting to trust these models to do like decisions for us. We should be able to trust what is happening and be able to verify, and that is the model of blockchain.
Perfect. Thank you. I have another one for you, Shashank.
All right.
So they say when we go live, he said the app, I mean the DApp, is there an area that allows the users to access other functionalities of the ecosystem, like basically
Uh,
from partners?
yeah. Funny that you mentioned it, because we are soon gonna add more features where you'll be able to access other data sets that you can provide as context to your agent. You'll be able to use other models like the kind of models we discussed today with Ilya. Maybe the biggest one as well, from other providers. So you will be able to choose which AI model will be used as backbone of your model. So keep you will have to wait a bit more, but those features are coming soon.
Perfect. I have another one for you, Ilya. It says, Ilya, can you elaborate on Near's vision for user-owned AI? What does this mean for developers and users in practical terms?
Yeah, so I mean, the kind of global vision is this idea that we want AI to be on the user side, not on some company side that is trying to make money of you, right? So right now, like effectively every interaction with internet you have, somebody's trying to make money of you, right? Google, showing you ads, X showing you ads,
Yeah.
and like maybe the values are there to like provide information and make sure, but like as a company they need to do this. So user-owned AI is really about like flipping that and like, okay, this is AI that's yours and it's making you successful, making your well-being and kind of and you can trust. And so importantly for users and developers, what this means is you can actually give your data to this AI. Like right now, I'm extremely scared of giving access to my email or my notes, for example, to OpenAI or Google or any of these services, because I have no idea where this data will go. Like I'm always unclicking, collecting my data, but like that the check mark always somehow ends up being clicked again, right? And so like it's very again dangerous to give all your life to these companies because you don't know where it's going to go and how's it going to use it. And again, it's like the number of hacks like that vendors have, like it's not even them gonna have, but somebody else will have hack, etc. So here you actually can trust to give access to all of your data to really engage with your life, and because of this you can build smarter applications, right? It can do your tax accounting, it can understand what is important things in an email, it can schedule life, it can do all those things that you traditionally are not able to do, because actually like the capabilities are there. Like AI can do all of these things now, it's just like it literally has no data and connectivity, and we're just scared to do that.
Perfect. Yeah, and especially since there's a lot of talk that OpenAI and Anthropic can be infusing ads within the answer. So you ask something and they give you, so it make it even more important. I have a last question for you, Shashank. It's about the DApp. They're asking if we can have a standalone app down the line that you can download from like App Store or Google Store.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's like one of the most important things we want to do. Initially, you will be able to use it directly on your phone browsers, but over time you'll have an Android version and a iOS version. So yeah, we will definitely have that. Uh, I think we are way over time, so we
Yes.
can just wrap it up. So thanks a lot, Ilya, from everyone, from our community, from the Near community, for being here, for giving us all this alpha about what you guys are building at Near, the new things to come up. And we are going to make some announcement soon about how we'll be enriching the Near ecosystem, especially the data part, and how we would want to make use of Near AI models on our platform as well. So keep posted for those announcements. And yeah, thanks a lot for showing up, Ilya.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks a lot, guys.
Bye, guys.